he said he was gonna, we were playing the quarterback out till Friday or Saturday.
Yeah.
Questions for Coach Dawson?
Hobson said there's a good possibility that both guys play Saturday. I know that, had that been the approach for a while, that you don't expect them both to play?
I mean, we're gonna see how the game goes, you know, I mean, I think that I'm not gonna sit here and make any statements about we're playing 2, we're playing 3 or whatnot, but, we're gonna try to do what it takes to win the game and move the football.
Kentucky's defense obviously played them last year.
Mhm.
Expecting more of the same kind of sort of stuff.
I mean, look, they've had a whole off season too, and so I'm sure they're gonna have some wrinkles just like everybody else is, and so I don't know how much, you know, schematically they'll change from last year. It looks like throughout the course of the year, they stayed somewhat consistent, but they did do some different stuff week to week, you know, I mean, you can tell that they were looking for some answers there, and so, I don't really have any idea of, you know, exactly when you go into the game, one of the season, there's gonna be some adjustments. It just is. I mean, they could have packages that we don't even know about, and they probably will, you know, knowing Coach Stoops.
When I talked to Coach Losey, he's a guy that kind of likes to go with the best 5.
Yeah.
Is that kind of the approach going in, whoever's,
Absolutely.
you know, not a whole lot of rotating?
You know, I mean, if you're a starter, you're probably a starter for a reason, and so, you know, when's the, you know, the whole deal with that is, when's the most important drive of the game? You know, nobody knows. I mean, you know, you wanna have your best guys on the field just in case that drive is that drive, you know what I mean? So, that's a tough question, you know, I mean, you wanna get people ready and play them, but as a coach, you always look at it as, you know, if you know what hits the fan out there, you'd like to have your best guys on the field.
Can you name something that Quandra and Keon do good that maybe it's different from each other, that maybe one person does better than the other, vice versa?
I would just say they're more similar than they are different, you know, other than that, you know, I'm not gonna really comment on skill sets or whatever, but I feel both of them have been playing really well.
Does the freshman even enter the picture?
We played 3 last year, and so I'm not psychic, so I can't tell you that, but all I know is what we did last year, and so, you know, we better put it this way, I mean, he's gonna be ready. You know, I'm not sitting there trying to, you know, I told him many times that he's not a freshman anymore, you know, and so he's proved over the course of camp that he can play, you know, the kid's talented. You know, is he talented enough to play in games right now? You know, in a perfect world, I would hope to not find out, but I don't know. I can't answer that question.
How did Quadra respond coming off missing some time in practice?
He did really well. Probably better than I thought he was going to do, to be 100% honest with you. You know, you think you miss some days, and you know, reps are so crucial and fine when you're battling 2 guys. I mean, you're trying to split reps, you know, and you're trying to get Marcelo some reps. I mean, reps are, you know, obviously there's a high price on those reps, and so he missed a few days there. But I thought that, you know, when he did start taking reps again, I was pleased with his level of play.
How have you seen Quez? Everybody knows he's fast, but
Yeah.
how has he kind of developed?
Well, I mean, you want to see plays in games, obviously. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I mean, there's a whole different, making plays in practice and making plays in games are 2 different things. And so he's definitely shown us that he has a skill set to be a good one, you know. And so, you know, that's basically all I know at this point, you know. When the bigger test of it is when everybody around this building starts talking about him, that's probably a better deal, because that means he's making plays in front of the public, you know. He hadn't made any plays in front of the public yet, so it's hard to talk about it.
How does Alizé improve one year to the next? Or
I think it's his overall comfort level. You can tell by the way he practices and just his demeanor at practice. You know, he's you know, your second year is always a little easier than the first year. You know, that's just true with everybody, really. And so you can tell that his overall comfort level with the offense, his overall comfort level with me, his overall comfort level with his role, I mean, he's just, you know, you become a little more comfortable your second year than you do your first.
On the blind side, how was Dorbeck settled in at left tackle?
Awesome.
Zay said he was trying to get faster in the offseason.
Who's that?
Alan Zay said he was trying to get faster.
We're all trying to get faster.
What's your 40 time these days?
Not good. I'm running miles lately. So I run distance. And so I have, I mean, my 40 time wouldn't be very good. And from what I found in the past is, I mean, either you're fast or you're not. You know what I mean? That's the bottom line. I mean, people can get a little bit faster, but guess what? You probably wasn't that fast. I mean, just guessing.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
No, I really
you know.
wouldn't.
But, you know, it would be hard to get you to play slot receiver. You know, I mean, it'd probably be left guard. Pulling guard. Probably. Deep snapper.
Yeah.
What has Devin Fairweather done since the end of last season for you to put him in the center spot?
Well, I mean, to answer that question better, I would say that he did enough last year for me to put him in that center spot. And so I mean, he proved to me that he's a leader. He proved to me that he's got a high football IQ. And so, I mean, those are two things that at that position you need desperately. And so moving him to center wasn't a hard decision, to be quite frank. I mean, he earned it. He wanted to do it. He embraced it, which is probably a bigger element than me moving him, is that he wanted to do it. And he's taken that group, and he's definitely the leader of that group. And, you know, that tends to happen later in your career. You know, seniors tend to have a little more, you know, vested interest in getting that group going, especially when it's a younger group. And so, you know, the biggest thing is that he proved to me over the course of last season that he was a guy, you know, that was going to be fit to take that job.
Coach, looking back at last year's game with Kentucky, just in the second half, what really was the difference for y'all being able to come back?
It's hard to tell. I mean, every game is so different. I mean, the momentum of games, I mean, you can watch them from, you know, from last Saturday. If you watch games on TV, you just see the momentum changes in games. And it's hard to tell. I think the touchdown at the end of the half was big. You know, I mean, you know, that's a difference between 24 points and 17 points, you know. You can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, and they probably said the same thing on their side, you know. So, I mean, it was really the tale of two halves. You know, I thought that, heck, you know, they put it on us the first half pretty good. I thought it was good for our kids, especially in that first game, to not panic and come out and just try to execute, you know. And that was the biggest thing is, you know, the one thing I told them at halftime is that you're not gonna get back even in one play, you know. And I was probably telling them that to tell myself that, to be quite honest with you, you know. And there was a certain level of patience that we had to have to chip our way back into the game. And we had some kids that made some plays, and we turned the ball over. The first half, I think we turned it over 3 times, right? And so typically, you turn the ball over 3 times, you lose the game. And so, you know, it is what it is.
Anything else?
In camp, talking about the turnovers, and there was a lot of them last year. In camp, how has that gone?
It's gone well. We haven't put the ball on the ground a lot at all, but I think that just, you know, you go back and forth with the whole emphasizing and how do you get better at things, you know. And I think that ultimately you got to emphasize it as a coach. Obviously, there's some drills you do, but I think ultimately they have to understand that that little ball is the most important thing out there on the field. And so hang on to it and make good decisions with it, you know. And so, I mean, a lot of the turnovers that we had last year, just going back and looking through them, were just easily avoidable turnovers, you know. And so I just think if we do a better job as coaches to just really fine tune that decision making to where, okay, you know, we're trying to go here. If there's a human being standing there, then don't go there. You know, I actually got that from Brett Favre the other day. Was meeting with him. And that's basically what he said his coaches told him when he first went to the league. They said, look, we want the ball to go here. If there's a human being with a different colored jersey sitting there, then don't throw it there. So that was pretty good advice he gave me.
How about now? Anything else? Coach, thank you. I appreciate
I got
it.
it.
You guys go.